What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into the Brass Ring Media podcast for Tuesday, January 28th, 2025. How's it going? Glad you're here. We're pumped to be here. I'm Zach Haydorn, your host. That is Tyler Sage over there, your other host. Tyler, man, we're hatless. What's going on?
Yeah, it's that time of year. We're serious. We're talking. We won't have a post-credit scene on this episode. We're just going to get right into the good stuff with not, at least a quarter of the audience turned away. So, yeah, good times.
Oh, my God. You know, you're talking about the ending of Raw last night, right?
Yeah.
Like, it got me too. You know, and I watched it. Like, I watched Raw yesterday way late because just was out doing stuff. And I had, read a little bit on Twitter. I was like, oh, that's weird. Sounds like Raw ended weirdly. So, whatever. And I'm just watching it, and then I'm like, oh, that must be the end of the show. And then, I just turned to, pet the dog or something like that, and then it came back on, and I'm like, oh, wow, cool. I guess, is this special bonus content, or is this actual Is this actual Raw? So I guess such is life in the Netflix world.
I just needed a Sami Zayn will return sort of thing, since he, was no longer – he was out of frame, and then he was not part of it. But he'll be there in WWE Avengers Royal Rumble.
Man, you said it. It's Royal Rumble week. We are days away from lots of sign pointing, and the road to WrestleMania is here. It's like the industry's biggest time of year. So it's we're gonna have some fun on these shows for sure in the coming weeks. Thanks to everybody who's joining in live on YouTube. Glad to have you here. Thanks to everybody who's joining us on Twitter X as well. Super pumped to have you guys too. We're here with this show twice a week, once on Tuesday nights. That's tonight's show. And then usually later in the week, either Thursday or Friday. We're working on that second show, the time of that this week, just because I'll be traveling to Indianapolis and we're just scheduling some stuff out and figuring out what's what. So we will have two shows this week. We're just not sure when the second one will be. But that's even more of a reason to just subscribe. Subscribe to the One True Sport YouTube channel here. We migrated all of the Brass Ring Media live content over to One True Sport at the beginning of the year, and it's been an awesome partnership. Super pumped to be doing it. And so hit subscribe so you don't miss any of the live shows, ours or otherwise. You're going to want to see what we got going on the channel here throughout WrestleMania season. If you are a podcast fan, all of our live podcasts that occur here on the One True Sport YouTube channel, you can find on your favorite podcast app. Just search Brass Ring Media, and you can subscribe to our podcast feed and get all of our shows. The two of these, plus the Kick-Ass podcast with Ashley Manns, all of Robert's shows, Nocturnal Knockout, it all hits our feed. So if you're not a YouTube person, check us out just as an audio podcast, and you can get that totally for free. We also offer Brass Ring Media membership, and we couldn't do these shows without our premium members, Sean Palikta, Andrew, and Tracy. So thank you so much, you guys, for your big help. We're going to have Sean join us. So our premium member, Sean, is going to join us in a little bit as we preview Royal Rumble here. It's a perk of being a premium member. So super pumped to have him join us. He's a great analyst of pro wrestling. He's been watching it for such a long time, and really will provide some fun insight and some fun back and forth. So excited to do that. If you're interested in membership, check us out on Patreon. Patreon.com/Brass Ring Media is how to do that. We've got two tiers. Our regular tier is only $4 a month, and you get all of our pay-per-view and PLE review shows, including the Royal Rumble coming up this weekend. You get exclusive access to our Discord community, which is members only. Plus, you get all of our written work for free over at Substack, where our newsletter lives, and so much more. But it's only $4. So give us a go. You get your first week free. So if there's any week to try it out, this is the one with the Royal Rumble. We'll be doing tons of content. I'll be on site in Indy with all more content. So it's gonna be fun. So check us out, patreon.com/Brass Ring Media. Live chat's open if you want to jump in there and talk Royal Rumble as we preview the event here. You can also leave us a super chat. It's kind of the lifeblood of what we do. If you want to ask a question or make a comment, jump on in and do that, and we'll make sure to get to all super chats before the show's over here tonight. All right, so Tyler, it's WrestleMania season. The Royal Rumble is Saturday. We're going to go match by match and preview that. But one question that I want to get to before we jump into the show, and it relates to Raw yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
What grade do you give WWE last night as far as putting on a go-home show for the Royal Rumble specifically?
So I have kind of a counter piece up on our Substack.
And it's a great piece. You guys got to check this out. It's on Substack right now.
So I'm not going to like spoil that because that was like a contrarian take, right? I could be right. But yeah, I'm going to give it like a C.
Okay.
For last night. And that is like a lot of things, right? And the promo at the end is cool. To me, it's more of a setup for a potential WrestleMania thing. See how people like us react to it, etc. But, in the terms of, you don't see Roman. You don't see John Cena. You're buoyed by, again, kind of a weird, like 3-person promo at the beginning of the show, like we saw with, it was Seth and Drew and Punk, right? Was that like 2 weeks ago, or was that last week?
Seth, Drew, and Punk was last week, but this week
was Logan, Gunther, and Seth. So another like kind of like, hey, just go out there and like make your cases. Like, okay, that's booing it. Sammy and Drew at the end of the show, but nothing really for the women that you should really care about to build that Rumble. So I think they're kind of like, besides the main event post-credit scene, if you will, it was below a C for me. But that brought it up to a C from like a build of, hey, if you're trying to sell this show to people who are not already locked in, right? Which is admittedly a pretty small portion of people. But I didn't think they tried particularly to sell the pay-per-view itself, as opposed to, continue the story, which is fine. So like a different question might be a B+ or an A, right? But to build the show itself, and I'm with Saturday being in there too, like I'm pretty much good on Kevin Owens and Cody like interfering with each other. Like I think we're all Cody, like wanting him to get past this Kevin Owens story at this point. So that builds into it too, of like being kind of tired of this and knowing I'm going to see something else on Friday as well on that.
So I think I'm higher on it than you, but also very, very surprised that we didn't see John Cena or Roman Reigns. Like I was shocked by that. Like, especially Cena. Like Cena more so than Reigns, because Reigns, Reigns was Reigns, but Cena's got this retirement tour going on. He's got all his chips in the middle for Royal Rumble, and he's not there. Like I think the promo that you needed to have was like Seth, Gunther, Cena, Roman, Punk. Mm-hmm. Like I think like if there was ever a time for like trotting everybody out one by one, it's when you have this kind of star power, like for that match. So I was a little surprised that they didn't do that, and they kind of promoted Roman for this show and then didn't like deliver on him, which was a little shady. So I don't know. That was a little shady, but
yeah, they showed his image on a game case that everyone's going to buy digitally, so it doesn't really matter what is on the case.
What's on the cover? Yeah. I mean, that was. Yeah, look, you never want to do that. You never should do that. I don't care if they didn't outright say he's going to be on the show. I mean, they totally alluded to him being on the show, and he wasn't on the show, and that's Vince McMahon level games as far as booking goes, which isn't a good thing. But I guess I thought the little speeches were more effective than you did. I guess there wasn't anything different in them. So I'll give you that. Like they were just kind of like double downs on what Seth, what Punk, what Drew, what Gunther, and what everybody's already said about winning the Royal Rumble. I still think that it was, just a final like stamp of like, okay, if you missed if you missed a month's worth of Raw and you're watching now as head of the Royal Rumble, like, bam, like here's your little recap. So I can't, I really can't get over the fact that Cena wasn't there. Like, I think that was a big miss, especially if he's gonna win. Like he needed to put that final oomph into it.
Yeah. Well, and like all that's fine and dandy. Like, again, they've done nothing for the women's match too, right? Would you agree with that sentiment?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yes. Like that, if they were like all of a sudden there was like, hey, there's like 3 non-Rumble matches and then the men's Rumble. Like, I don't think anyone could be like entirely shocked if like Vince McMahon ran this company and that happened on Saturday. Obviously not going to happen, but kind of insane.
Yeah,
That goes in the rating too of like, hey, we don't care, or we're like, we're booking these completely differently, and we'll see which one pans out to be like the better way to book when you have 2 of them. To be like, hey, let's hyper focus on one and let the other one like go under the radar and maybe be a surprisingly good time, or just you don't have any expectations. So if it's a 2 out of 5 match, then it's fine, right? So that goes into my rating too. Like, yeah, everything is in there was good. Do I need, by the time we get to Friday, over half this is a personal thing too. Like, I don't need more than like 6 to 8 people saying they're in the Rumble. Like, remember there was the one year where I think they did like 27 or 28 of the 30 spots they announced. So there's like literally like when Boogeyman came out at 11, you're like, all right, we got one more surprise. Like, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But I do like, even though we're going to see Chad Gable at some point, Xavier Woods, what have you, right? I like to not know the number in my head and be like, okay, well, I guess we got no fun surprises this year in this match. So that's like another personal issue I have.
Yeah, you're making a good point. Like, you're changing my mind a little bit here as we talk, which is what I love about this show. The women's match was still left with a gaping hole in terms of like, if you're comparing it to like the level of attention that the men's match got in terms of story, in terms of like inner match stories, and then like other feuds going on. I mean, it's not even in the same ballpark in terms of like just the attention and focus that it got. And I wonder if like, look, your column gets into this on the in the newsletter today, which is up right now on Substack. Everybody can check it out. It's free for you to do that. So jump over there, subscribe, just search Brashing Media and Substack, and you can get that and a bunch of other stuff. But like, I think that you are, I wonder if you are seeing like a concerted effort to like have 2 different Royal Rumbles where like we don't know anything about the women's Royal Rumble. So like, is that one going to be more about surprises, more about past legends, more about, returns in terms of like Becky Lynch and Charlotte and others, right? Like, you're going to have, maybe that the idea is like, all right, we're going to stock that matchup with that. And then the men's match is going to be more kind of, your storyline driven stuff. I don't know. It could just be an egregious error on the part of Paul Levesque, but I don't know. It's a pretty egregious error to not be by some kind of design. Like, but we'll see. We'll see come the weekend.
Yeah, we'll see. And we won't really know until it happens. And if there's any buzz coming out of it, if if we know who, like, is Rhea Ripley going to be on the show? She certainly has to be, right? Like, does Tiffany? I don't know. But, like, can you imagine a big show like this where it's, like, not Rhea Ripley coming out and, like, confronting the winner of this match? But, like, the way that they booked it, like, I don't know if I should care about who's going to win it and all that stuff. I hope I do. And I hope it's, like, again, ushering in kind of a new golden era, which is like the men's version of this, right? They're on different timelines too, which is an interesting way to look at this. Is like the men, you probably have like 2 to 3, let's say 2 to 4, like years of all these guys being top guys without question. And then you really gotta, just like you need every 8 years or so, you need to like recycle that. And they're Seth is the CM Punk in 6 years, right? Where he's coming in, not working all the time, but it's a big deal when he's there, et cetera. And who's going to step up? Is that going to be Braun and Obafemi, or like the 2 guys doing, of those big time guys? So they're just in that spot for the women right now, meaning like an influx of talent and maybe some legends coming back, aka Charlotte Flair for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's interesting. We're gonna preview the event starting right now. First, let's say hi to some people in the chat here. We got Eddie. What's going on, Eddie? Mike is in the chat. Mike is a Wrestling Media member. What's going on, Mike? Zach is in our chat. Thank you, Zach, for being here. And he says, Zach, take your coach back. Never. You can have him. Eberflus to the Dallas Cowboys. I'm sorry, man. Although he's a pretty good defensive coordinator, as long as he doesn't take over the head coaching reins, then I think you're fine. Brandon, what's going on, Brandon? Glad to have you here. And as I mentioned, special guest today, we are happy to welcome in Sean Pelikta. And Sean is a premium Brass Ring Media member. And we're so pumped to have him on the show and to bring him on right now. Sean, dude, what's going on, man?
Oh, not much, guys. Just, hanging out. Technically, quote unquote, at work, but not really. So it's like, it worked out pretty well. It's kind of like, oh, this is cool. I can kind of, quote unquote, slack off a little bit, but still, be around. If someone needs me, hey, I can go do my job. It's all good. But no, I'm glad to be on with you guys. It's always fun. We did this. It's already been like over a year since I got on with you, which is crazy to me. That's so weird. But no, it's fun. The Royal Rumble, it's, I'm always excited for the Rumble anyway, but this year, especially the men's, like we'll talk about, it's very, very exciting. A lot of, definite routes they can go. And that's cool. It makes it more fun. You don't know who's going to win, which I love. So I'm glad to be on with you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course. And we thank you for your membership and your support, and appreciate you joining us today. So let's start with the men's Royal Rumble. I think that this is almost a shoe-in to be the main event of the show. We know for sure that there's a batch of people that have already declared. I'm not going to go through all of them, but the big names: Roman Reigns, John Cena, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, and others. Carmelo Hayes even declared for the Royal Rumble yesterday.
Yeah, is he 15th on the list of most important?
Probably, if that. Probably like at least 3 or 4 surprises are more important. But I think, Sean, I think you hit the nail on the head here as far as like why I think this is interesting to people more so than in previous years. And I credit 2 things to this. Number one being you've got a lot of star power in WWE right now. So like you can pull this kind of thing off because you've got talent that's over. Right. I mean, that's the key. Right. You couldn't pull this off if you didn't. But they've got Sami Zayn, who I didn't mention. They've got Seth. They've got Drew. They've got Jey Uso, Punk, Roman, Cena's return. I mean, so that, they have the ability to go here with it because they've got talent that's over. But not only do they have the talent, what I give them like the double thumbs up for is, getting a backstory behind the strong talent, which is as a reason and some context around why winning makes sense. So it's not just like, oh, I want this person to win. I want this person to win. Like there's storylines with each of these guys. Sami Zayn, Seth, Drew, Punk, all of them have those stories, that they can grab onto in the build, which they have, but that also can play out in the match itself. And I'm going to throw to you guys in a minute. But what I mean by that is Punk has available interactions to him now in the match with Sami Zayn, with Roman Reigns, with Drew McIntyre, and with Seth Rollins. And all of them, he can have like a reasonable spot in the match with them that all makes sense, and that's predicated on backstory, right? And you can go through the whole list of that talent. Cena, same thing. Like the whole list of top talent has that available to them. And to me, Tyler, that's the most that's the coolest part about this build, is that you have those like intricate layers, and they're going to be, pulling on those levers all throughout the match. So what are you looking forward to most here, and what have you liked most about the build, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit on it, right? It's to me, this whole men's match is probably who 1 and 2 are, right? Because one of those two is probably going to go the distance, at least to the final 4. Seems to be just there's enough people in it that you have to spread the wealth across the match. And someone like Punk, obviously, this match to me is built around CM Punk more so than any other character, more than John Cena, more than Roman Reigns. Obviously, last night it shows that to us, like whether that's like a choice or if that's Paul Levesque wanting to see if this is truly like a WrestleMania main event worthy thing. to see it out there, because certainly that was supposed to end. I mean, I know we're getting into it here on Raw, but that was supposed to end before they both pulled each other back twice and like kept one-upping each other. So I thought that was a fun little flourish there.
Yeah.
In that main event, where both of them wanting this to be the main event, I think, and trying to push it hard. So to me, it's what you just laid out there. It's Punk, and it's his story throughout the match, in between him laying underneath the center or the corner rope for a while, a la Edge in 2021. But
yeah,
and then in the final four, right? Like, I think and this is not to get into like, but the middle, I'm hoping, is not like super duper soft here, right? And you can do that with CM Punk at spot 20 interacting with Sami Zayn, interacting with Drew McIntyre, interacting with Seth. And then you can save, Punk and Seth and Cena and Roman for the end, for the last 7 people, who's in the final 4, what stories that tell. And the only character where that makes sense to be a through line, in my opinion, is CM Punk, the way they've laid out the story. So that's what I'm looking to see.
Sean, what about you? What's your favorite part about this, about the build here, in terms of what they've done, either to hype it or the talent that they have in it?
I think, I'm kind of with you, Tyler, as far as the stories they're going to tell. Because I would love, honestly, one thing I would love is the stories they've interweaved with Sammy and with KO and with Seth. I would definitely, Sammy to me would seem like a number 1 guy who would last a long time, and they could tell the stories like, throughout the Rumble. So that's kind of what I'm thinking with him. And then just like you said, Tyler, with all the guys they've weaved in, Punk's the biggest factor, but like you said, they've had, Seth, with Drew and with Sammy and with just all the interweaving so many different things, which they haven't done in the past. Vince just didn't care to do that. And with, Hunter, I think he's really wanting to interweave a lot of these stories and keep you guessing on what's going on. And that's been really exciting to me. And the promo battles have just been a lot of fun. Even last night with Punk and Cody, I thought it was, really, really fun, really, really interesting. And it's like, well, again, not saying who we think is going to win yet, but I just, it was like, oh man, it's, leaning more toward Punk, but then it's like, there's still so many stories, ways they could go. But I was surprised, like you said, I didn't understand why Cena wasn't there, like you said, because if he is going to win, which I don't want that, I'm just going to put that out there. I've told you that I do not want that.
You're on the record as saying.
I totally am on the record, but he should be on there saying why he wants to win it again, and kind of have a serious promo, which we don't get from Cena very often. Like,
right.
Why do you want to win? Like, who are you going after? Like, what are you thinking? And we didn't get any of that, so that was a bummer. But yeah, the storylines just interweaved have been a lot of fun. There's 6 guys that theoretically could win and have good, good odds of, like, could they win? I think 6 people could very well.
Let's start talking about some winners here potentially, and then we will go around the horn and pick them. Everybody mentioned CM Punk, the promo last night. On one hand, I looked at that promo and I went, okay, they're telling you here that CM Punk's going to win. I think that's one way to take that. And then the other way is CM Punk's not going to win. Where, like, it's too obvious that for him to do a promo like that. So right. It was well timed, but to your point, Tyler, like, I think, the story of this is very much built around Punk. Like, and I think he's a guy right now that's getting, he's going to be getting some of the biggest reactions of the weekend, across the board, like, in the Rumble match and beyond. So including John Cena, including Cody Rhodes. So it's just hard to see a scenario where he's not the winner. And I think you do get a lot out of him being the winner. So, they've done right by him and Punk fans, I think, in terms of how they booked him, Tyler, going into this.
Oh yeah, certainly. And, that's the beauty of the Elimination Chamber and having 2 world titles, right? Is that whoever they decide to not go with, then they have like the super underdog story, right? Which cracks more for Cena. But it is like, and this is post it, but the triangle of Cena, Roman, and Punk is very interesting to say, like, how do you get somewhere with all of them? I have lots of ideas. We'll save that for later, maybe later this week in the, speculation category. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of good options, and that's why this Rumble, I think, we're always excited for the Rumble as wrestling fans, but like, there's legitimately like what, you could like really convince yourself like 5 people could win, which you know if you can get to 2 usually that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that's huge.
I'm pretty excited for that.
Yeah.
Sean, where are you at on the Punk winning bandwagon? Are you in on, like, did they do enough with him to get something out of that?
Oh, yeah, I think they did. I mean, I've honestly kind of been leaning him all along, but at the same time, it was always kind of funny to me because I never thought Punk and Cody was where they would be going for WrestleMania. That's not really the thought I had, which is interesting because obviously they laid it out last night or can make you want to see that match, but at the same time, you have Cody that's, not going to turn heel anytime soon. And Punk, I think, is obviously better as a heel. I like him better as a heel. Again, you have the favor with Heyman. I don't know where that's leading, which they could play that Saturday, and that could lead into him winning somehow. I don't know. I don't think that's where they would go, but it's possible. So, but Punk, I give him probably the best chance of winning. But again, it's weird because of that. If you're going with him and Cody, I just think he's got to turn heel because I just face you can do, and it's fun, but you don't want to have who do we want to cheer? I don't want that storyline. I'm not a fan of it, so I wouldn't go that route. So, but yeah, Punk feels the biggest favorite to me right now. That's where I would lean.
What about Roman Reigns? Roman's in this match for the first time in a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have a good track record of Royal Rumble appearances,
No.
but obviously it's a different ballgame now. He's still the number one guy in the company. He's going to be chasing the world title. Like, I don't know, as much as it makes sense for Punk to win, it's kind of hard to just outright discount Roman being, that he's going to have a big presence at WrestleMania. He's going to be in a main event at WrestleMania. It's going to likely involve a championship too. Sean, go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, for me, it's just number one. I mean, if Cody's the champion, which we're assuming he's going to be, I just don't need to see that again. I just don't. I mean, I've seen it 2 years in a row. They've built really good stories to build to Cody losing the first time and building up to winning the second time. I mean, you could do a rubber match part 3, but I just don't want. It just doesn't make any sense for where they're going right now.
I'm with you on it. But do you guys completely discount, like,
No.
The world title is on Raw right now. So, I mean, do you completely discount, like, the possibility of Roman winning, Punk beating Gunther prior to WrestleMania, and then the favor being, hey, Paul, you got to have Roman face me in the main event of you have to have Roman pick me because Punk is the champion. I mean, could that be a scenario, Tyler?
Oh, certainly. I mean, there's lots of machinations. Like, just if we've seen how Gunther's been treated, you're on the main event of Battle of the Belts. I mean, Saturday night's main event.
I see what you did there.
And you have Jesse Ventura basically taking over the show and all that.
He was not good. Oh gosh, he was.
But anyway, not to get like into negatives here, but to me, just think of Gunther last night in those the promos, right? Just stack up the 6 people who've been involved in those trio promos, right? I mean, he's like 6th for me right now. Like Logan Paul, I don't like as a character, but like he's over as a heel, and no one can deny that. Yep. But I don't know. It feels like any combination, whoever gets Cody, that's a plum spot. And just right now, the vibe I get is watching WWE is that like Gunther is not in one of those spots because it has to be a main event. Just the way the other title is treated, how you want to make both the same. And anybody versus Gunther, I just think there's like a better match they can do. Because like, let's say Punk wins the Rumble and you have like Cena and Reigns available. Like, I'd much rather just see, like, as a fan, Roman and Cena versus each other than either of them versus Gunther, personally, right? As like a big time match. So I do think there are some shenanigans afoot where, you can have Punk decide to cash in a favor or whatever. Like, instead of being in the chamber, he decides to take on Gunther because Gunther does something to him. And he gets the title there. And then whoever wins the chamber gets to take on Punk because Cody's already been picked, right? There's just so many machinations there, which is why it's hard to pick who's going to win this thing. But I'm almost 100% confident that Gunther is not a world title champion walking into WrestleMania at this point.
He may be going after the Goldberg title match.
Yeah, or Braun Breaker and him.
Yeah. All right, let's pick some winners here. Sean, where are you at? Men's Royal Rumble 2025. Dude, you got to put it all on the line.
So if you're putting a quote unquote gun to my head, I mean, I still think Punk is going to win. Cena, if he was winning the Rumble, he would have been on last night. I just don't see how he's not on. If he's not on the show, I don't see how he's all of a sudden winning the Rumble. I don't want it. I don't think it's a good idea. I think, like I said, Drew, I thought about Drew just because nobody's really thinking about him, but he's making good cases on why he could win the Rumble, especially with the whole, the Heyman promo, which I thought was really fun last night. I'm going Punk. I think Punk's going to win. But I still don't know where they're going. I don't know where this leads because there's so many, like Tyler, you put it out there. There's just so many ways they can go right now that I don't really know where they're going. And that's good. I don't need to know right away. But I think Punk is the favorite, and I think he will win. I think it's going to be a fun Rumble. I think Cena's going to get his moment. I think Roman's going to have plenty of moments. Drew will do well. They'll all do really well. But I think Punk's ultimately going to win, and we'll see where they go next with him.
Tyler, you're up.
Yeah. I thought you almost were going to steal this from me and like in the middle of this, but I'm going with Roman Reigns. I thought he's going to win the whole time. He's just like, his character is not different, right? From a kayfabe perspective, from when he's come back, he's still a heel that people love, right? There's not anything there. And like, to think he's going to get booked differently. I'm just, he's like Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. Like, do I want to? Is this like my ultimate choice? No, but like, am I going to pick against them, pushing him and getting him?
Right.
That's why, like, I don't think it's Roman and Cody. I think he can still be Punk and Cody or whatever, or any other combination, Cena and Cody.
Okay.
Like, you can get to anywhere you want to go. So I think if Reigns wins here, he's taking on the Raw champion, right? I mean, I think we all agree, not minus the transfer portal. This is the boring business side of it. But I don't think Roman and Cody are on the same show post April 20th or whatever this is. Yeah. So that's another way to do it too, is get that title on him. It's been on, Seth, Priest, Gunther, Roman Reigns. Pretty good lineage of that title in modern times. So that's where I'm going with Roman. And then you give Cena and Punk as the true baby faces an opportunity to chase and make the Elimination Chamber that much more interesting.
I'm going to take John Cena against
Zach, how dare you?
Sorry, I knew that was going to ruffle some feathers on the show.
Odds are strongly in John Cena's favors for what it's worth. I looked at the odds while we were talking.
I'm taking Cena, even though I do agree with you, Sean, that I think that like it's an issue that he wasn't on the show. And so I wonder if that is that a pivot, because Cena's like the ultimate, like, stand in the ring, cut a promo how he's going to win a match. Like, he's like the ultimate babyface when it comes to that. So to not have him do that is a little odd. However, I think that part of this 2025 retirement tour is putting Cena in the biggest spots and running with him. And I think that means big match at WrestleMania. I think it means they want Cena holding that opportunity and talking about who he's going to face and what's he going to do. And I don't know, I'm going after my 17th world title. So I think they're going to try to milk that for all it's worth. They got a Indianapolis Colts colored Cena spinner belt that they got to pedal all weekend long in Indianapolis. They're going to milk this thing.
I'm sure Pat McAfee will be in his suite with
Pat McAfee. Yeah.
Oh, he will be.
He definitely will be. So I'll take Cena. This is fun, though. Like, we each have somebody different, logical arguments for each way. I like it. Just to go to the chat here for a little while, we've got.
Can I add like one more thing? Do we all want like, in a perfect world, like, we can just like shoot it around the horn really quick. Like, who do you want to win? Like, in your ideal world, like, whether it makes a ton of sense or not, like, is it the same as what you said, or do you want someone else to win? Zach, you can go first, and then Sean.
I want someone else to win. I want Roman to win. I think Roman winning makes it. I think Roman winning opens up the best potential singles matches for titles at WrestleMania if he's the winner. So I'd like to see Roman win.
Sean.
Yeah, I do like Punk. I'm okay with Punk. I love what he's doing right now. But if I had to choose someone else, I would like it to be Drew. I know he's won it before, but Drew is fun as a character right now, and I love what he's doing. I think there could be a lot of good matches. He's great, in big matches. He's always been really well. Stories have always been fun. Even him and Brock, unfortunately, in a bad moment. I mean, it's a bad moment in time. Really sucked.
Yeah.
But he sold it so well, and the way he garnered that title, how much it meant to him. Obviously, this time it'd be different in a heel way, but it would be a fun way. I think it'd be great. But I'm okay with Punk winning. I think it'd be fine. I think there's a lot of good stuff you can tell with CM Punk right now.
I think everyone we've mentioned, I'm fine with winning. But my pick, if Sammy won, I'd be so effing jazzed.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
It'd be such a big moment.
I thought about
it'd be
that
like,
too.
I can't believe they're going for it. This is crazy. So I think it would be like kind of, Daniel Bryan-esque. Where it's like, where's this go after he wins? Probably nowhere. But like, man, it'd be so fun. Or Kofi like, Daniel Bryan like. So
Daniel Bryan winning is I think it would be very similar.
Yeah,
similar to that.
I thought you meant at first. I thought you meant Kofi right now, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh man! All right, the chat has a bunch of names tossing out. Go Cena from Eddie, Braun Breaker, R-Truth.
Come on, man, what's wrong with you?
R-Truth from E. I love that. Reigns is out there too, and then we got a super chat from Zach, which I think is really interesting. And thank you, Zach. Zach says here, is it just me, or are the Rumbles with the clear winners more memorable? When it's too wide open, you get Sheamus or you get Shinsuke. So Tyler, have at it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, depends how you're looking at it, right? Like historically, I disagree with that. I mean, everyone's favorite Rumble ever is 92, and that was about as wide open as it ever gets. It's for the title. So it depends what your memorable is, right? Like if you're saying well booked, yeah, I mean, like, Triple H coming back from injury.
Yeah, it's easy.
Winning 02 or 98 for Stone Cold. Like those are ones you go to that you remember. But, in the moment, because you kind of knew you had like one or two guys. So it's not as fun like the week before, like it is right now. So it's like a fine line and a fine dance to dance around. I like what's the Shinsuke one? What year is that? Is that 17?
17.
Yeah.
Or 18.
17 or 18. Yeah, I think it's 18.
Yeah. I mean, that's like a very memorable final thing, right? Between the two of them. Did it go anywhere with Shinsuke? No, but
they think
it's a good time.
It was fine.
Yeah. So like, there's lots of good stuff in there, and it just depends on what's memorable, what's not. I think you need like 10 years to really like fully crystallize a Royal Rumble.
Right.
So it's hard to say in modern times if like having only Roman and Cena be able to win, if that would be better right now. I would disagree with that, but
yeah, I do too.
And I would say, Zach, I think like if you look back at all like the really good Rumble matches, a lot of them do have like that winner who, everybody's behind, and I think that is important to those Rumbles. Like that Rumble, the Austin Rumbles were about Steve Austin winning or not winning. Like that was like the sole storyline because that was the biggest thing that the company had going. Vince entering at number one, Austin at number one, Vince at number two. Like that, that was the story of that Rumble. So each of them are a little bit different. I think that the Rumbles that you were thinking of, Sheamus, Del Rio, Nakamura, like when it is wide open, those talents were not as over as the talents that we're speaking about today in the current WWE like kind of ecosystem. So I think that matters here. Like you have talents that are more over. This is not just like a ragtag bunch of guys that are going to be in the opening match, for the secondary heavyweight championship at WrestleMania. Like I think, these are top tier guys. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah. Well, you have, you look at it the other way, Zach, where when, the year Roman won and Rock held his hand up, that sucked in the most horrible way ever. It was memorable, but in a sucky way. I didn't want. Yes. Nobody freaking wanted Roman Reigns to win the Rumble that year. No one. And then you had the year Batista won. Everybody knew he was going to win. That wasn't memorable. It sucked. You knew he was going to win. There was no intrigue to anything. There was no story. There was no anything. So I could go the other way, say, yeah, it was memorable, but in a bad way when you knew who was going to win going into it. It's not fun. not fun that way.
Yeah, and like,
go ahead.
What's the year like to counter that? Because they're both points I think are right. Like, what was it? Randy beat Bray. Was that like 20?
That was another one. Yeah.
But that's like kind of that was like an open one, and it like led to a match that everybody hates at WrestleMania. At least but
is that the WrestleMania where they like shot it from above and like the maggots and stuff were on the mat?
Was so
my god, that was just.
There's also like a 7-hour WrestleMania.
Yeah, it was.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's like a counterpoint to it too. So I think they're not every Rumble match is different. Think of it like your football team, right? Whoever you are, like you could win, you could be whatever. You're going to lose people and you're going to gain people. Each team is uniquely different, and whether that's like one that won a title or maybe didn't win a title but got close or whatever, it might be a favorite team for you for different reasons. It's kind of how I look at Rumbles.
Yeah. All right, let's pivot. Let's talk Women's Royal Rumble. We'll preview that. Notable names. Charlotte Flair is going to be making her return to the ring after almost a year or a little bit more away from WWE. Jordan Grace, heavily rumored to be in this match. She just signed a WWE contract per Fightful earlier this week. So, I think she's going to be a hot name that is certainly going to be, on the tips of people's tongues as far as like who could win. After that, this thing falls off a cliff real fast. I mean, Liv Morgan is there. Raquel Rodriguez is there. Ivy Nile is another woman who's declared. Lyra Valkyria has declared. But Tyler, I mean,
Bianca.
They need some big returns here to make this match compelling, do they not?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the intrigue of the match for me is like, I don't know who 20 of the 30 participants are.
Yeah.
And, there's a ton of talent available to them that are not working right now on Mondays and Fridays that you could really get a good shine to. And not just like the Adam Cole going like, looking okay, but like 2 of the final 4 being NXT women or Jordan Grace, an NXT woman, Charlotte Flair, and a surprise person, right? That's how I'm envisioning this to be like a positive show. And like you definitely put like, hey, these 2 women that you regular viewers watching this on Peacock, get ready because this is like it's coming fast. And these are like Rhea's got 5 new people in the next year to really have big time matches with. That's like the positive take of it. The other is like, hey, here's Nikki Bella, and please be excited. So I think we'll get a mix of the 2, and of like main roster people. I don't, like we're all dancing around it, but besides Becky and Alexa, is there anyone I'm missing? Jade, I guess.
Jade,
whatever's going on there. Are those the 3 that are not currently announced that within reason could be on this show? Am I missing anybody?
I think those are the biggest ones. Yeah.
So like one of them I would anticipate being on this.
Yeah.
So like I don't think you should expect all 3. So that's like a part of the show, but it's gonna be a lot of filler. It's gonna be a lot of just like in the men's rumble. One of my favorite things is like, okay, I guess I know 3 entrance songs without seeing the graphic. So what will that be here on this show? I mean, will it be like literally 3 or 4 on the women and like 6 for the men? I'm keeping track. So please ask me next week, Zach, because I'm keeping track on a notepad when I watch this.
I definitely will. I will. Sean, what do you think? Where are you at on the Women's Royal Rumble this year?
Well, I've said this before. I've thought about this many times. This is what really freaking frustrates me about the women. There are so many talented women in WWE, and they just don't do a good job of building up the Women's Rumble every year. They just don't give you anything to sink your teeth into. There's so much talent on this roster, and they do nothing to interweave anything to where, yes, there's a bunch of people that can win, but in a bad way, because you just don't know, because they don't built anybody up enough to even think, oh, this person could win, because they just don't do anything. They don't care to build up the story unless you call Charlotte, in her vignettes, which I still believe if it was my way, I would have just had Charlotte be a surprise. I know the vignettes were cool. They were fine. They looked good. I thought she came across as a big star like she always does. I would have just had her as a surprise because it makes it more fun when she comes out and even though she's probably going to be in it, but to not have just, oh, she's in a vignette, she's going to be there. I don't know. I would have done it that way personally, me. But I just think there's a lot of people, like I said, Bianca, she's just in a bad spot. I mean, we could talk a little bit about that since we're talking about the women in general. I would love to see Bianca win this personally, but her character's in such an awful spot that unless she has a big turn in her persona, I just don't want to see it because she's just in a terrible spot. But there's a lot of people, a lot of women that can win, but they've just done a horrible job, and it needs to be called out. They need to do more to make the women's rumble feel special and feel important, and they don't bother.
Yeah, I mean, and it's really glaring this year when it's up against the men's rumble, which got so much attention, and so I think it's there's like an added spotlight on. Well, this is what's possible, and we're down here. Like, you got to like even that out. You got to bring the women's booking up to the level of the men on this.
Women mean more than that. Make them feel more important than that. They mean more. Make them feel like they mean more, and they don't.
Yeah. When it comes to like who could win this, I mean, there's a lot of people in my mind that like could win, right? Bianca could win, but because she's not in a great spot, you don't really want to see it. Returning Becky Lynch could win, but I mean, she's been there, done that. I mean, her against Tiffany, it hasn't been that long since we've seen that.
Right.
Her against Becky against Rhea, we saw that just last year, and that's not great. So even though there's names in there, like Eddie just said in the chat, Roxanne Perez, that's that would be a huge elevation for Perez, though, for her to get in there and win that match. Not that she's not good enough, but that's a very big jump.
Yeah.
When I break it down, it's really hard for me to see Charlotte not winning this, just because she's the only one getting like true attention. Like, if there's one person that's getting some focus in this match, it's Charlotte Flair. You've got a match queued up, ready to go. Her and Tiffany Stratton. That's a big match for Tiffany, and that elevates her. That puts her on a new level as champion. I don't know. I think it's hard to argue against Charlotte. As much as I don't love that, they're giving her an awful lot of time, and with nothing else around it. So I'm taking Charlotte in this, Tyler, and I'm like oddly confident about that one.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. Maybe the optimist in me is just like, there is no way that you could book this in 2025 and get away with it. It'd be like the Aaron Paul meme, can't keep getting away with this with Charlotte. And Jack, when we do the Patreon show this week, will you remind me? We got to talk about Charlotte and her return. That's only for patrons, where I feel safe discussing what I would like to discuss about that.
Geez, patreon.com/media.
I'll be listening, Tyler. Don't you worry, buddy.
It's a trust circle, so that's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, I'm thinking of matches, right? This is a vector, if you will, for big time WrestleMania matches. And what's the best match? If I'm Triple H right now, I think it's Jordan Grace and Rhea Ripley to showcase Rhea Ripley in a big spot.
Yeah,
I think you're right, man, about Charlotte. It just it's sad.
I don't want to be right. You know what I'm saying?
I know, but I'm telling you right now, Tiffany and Charlotte is the third match on Sunday of WrestleMania. That, if we're power ranking 10 matches, that's already 9th for me. So just don't do it and figure something else out is my take. But I'm not going to be shocked if that's where it is.
That's a negative take on Charlotte against Tiffany. I think I'm a little higher on it than you.
I just don't care, and I just know that the promos aren't going to be there to get me to care about this either.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, it's hard to argue with that. Tiffany would really need to overperform, I think, in that one, and somehow Charlotte would have to generate a renewed interest in her. That even though she's been gone, Sean, for how let's just call it a year. I just don't think that there's that renewed interest in seeing her come back and be at the top, even though she's been gone for a year. And I think that speaks to just how tired people are of Charlotte. So go ahead and comment on that if you want to, Sean, but also pick your winner of the Women's Royal Rumble.
Well, I wanted to go sidetrack really fast. Here is my thing about Bianca. Let's say because my thing is they haven't told the Jade story, which I think they're waiting the long game on that, which is where you kind of this blows up my my so-called argument, where if they pulled a quick trigger somehow in the next few weeks and said, Bianca's, you tell that Bianca's the one that attacked Jade, obviously, and you have her turn heel. Because I think Bianca as a heel is so good, and I think that would unwrap something in her character that she's been missing for so long. And if you could somehow build into that, I don't know if that's enough time. That's my only worry about that, too, to build to this WrestleMania, to say, you have Bianca as a full-blown heel and a fun character against Rhea. I think more than likely, I would wait till next year to do that, because I think you could build that long game story. So I was just saying short term, they could do that, but I don't think they're going to go that route, because I think ultimately Bianca Rhea would be an awesome match where it doesn't even need to be for a title necessarily. Like, you could do Bianca heel, Rhea face, and it would just be a great match without a title. But my second pick is, Tyler, you said it with Jordan Grace. I think that would be phenomenal to have her win and face Rhea, because Jordan can be a really good heel. That would work perfectly well. I think it'd be a really fun WrestleMania match. But Zach, I'm with you. I think ultimately they think Charlotte Tiffany. Here's my thing about Charlotte Tiffany. I think you could have they could have a great match. Number one, obviously that they're both really good in the ring. That part would be fine. Obviously, they're not doing Charlotte Rhea, because we've seen that many times. We don't need to see that again. People were arguing for that, and I just don't see how you would. That makes no sense to do a match again between them. With Charlotte and Tiffany, like you said earlier, Zach, her character needs to be, if she ends up turning face, would need to be fleshed out way more. I mean, because Charlotte ultimately is better as a heel. There's no way Tiffany as a face could match Charlotte in this spotlight that quickly. I just don't see it working from a story perspective, to where I would, like you said, Tyler, you mentioned it earlier, I wouldn't get excited about that match right now. I think it could be a fun story if they're in the right places character-wise, and you build up to it in the right way. But I think Charlotte's going to win. That's where they're going, though, unfortunately. And it is what it is. I hope it does well, because, again, I like both characters. I like both people. I'm not against Charlotte. I just don't. Her character just stinks, and unless she's really willing to do something different about it and not feel like she's scripted and not just like she's reading something off, I want to get into it, but I'm worried about it. I am definitely worried about it.
All right. Well, Sean, listen, thank you, man. Thanks for jumping on. Thanks for being a premium member here with Brass Ring Media. We'll definitely bring you on again soon. And with WrestleMania season coming, lots of opportunities. So, dude, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for all you guys do. I love everything you do, and I'll be on again hopefully very, very soon.
Thank you, dude. See you later.
All right, see you guys.
Sean from Tennessee, joining us here live on the Brass Ring Media podcast.
Trying to breathe in my box was
You're reaching in. Sean is a day one supporter of Brass Ring Media, so we appreciate him joining. Did great as always. Zach, I do see your super chat about Timeless Tony Storm. We definitely will get to that for sure. Let's just finish up our preview here. Only 2 other matches to get to. They only have 4 matches booked on the show, which is nice. We got a tag team match. Tyler, we have a tag team title match on a PLE, on a Big 4 PLE in WWE that has some build behind it. Who would have freaking thought? We got DIY, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano defending the WWE Tag Team Championships against the Motor City Machine Guns. It's a 2 out of 3 falls match. Tyler, who's going to win, and what do you think of the build of this thing?
Man, I don't know. This is a choice to be a 2 out of 3 falls match, I think. Maybe a time filler more than anything. Instead of having 5 matches, you can do this and have them, a number of matches eliminated here. But why not have Gunther have a match? That just proves my point earlier of that he's just not as valued in that position. That being said, I don't know, man. I guess I'll go with Motor City just because they're newer, but there is part of Triple H that of all those NXT black and gold guys that are still around, he really wants it to work with those guys with DIY. And I think there's a way to, like, not having Lucha Bros, not wanting to fully activate the New Day, right? As we saw even with last night, like, they're on their journey to, like, be vicious over heels by losing and losing and losing before they, like, break and tear everybody apart. So, like,
I hope you're right about that, by the way. I hope they, like, I hope that they.
Well, yeah, I mean, if not, I don't know what they're doing, but.
Well, like, because I mean, if they're not doing that, man, did they take a hot angle and completely neutralize it? Like, it's like, let me shoot both feet in the like it's just been terrible if that's not where they're going. But go ahead, I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no, you're good. I mean, it's true. So that's like another thing for another day. But so I think this is like a vector for Motor City Machine Guns to win and lead to WrestleMania. And if that's like one of those two teams turning to get there, that makes sense, and have this be like the start. I think in Triple H's mind, this is like the start of the tag team feud of the year for, the Wrestling Observer is more what this is for. Like, definitely an indulgence by Triple H, more than, like, I think the best booking decision for this type of show, which is, like, exciting, but also, like, man, I don't know if it's going to work or not in front of that crowd in that place, like, with, like, the dead crowd you're going to have after. I mean, it's certainly Women's Rumble, Cody and KO, and then this, and then the Men's Rumble, right? Like, that's the worst spot to ever be.
Yeah, you're screwed. If that's
so good luck to him. So good luck to him, man. Is my take on this.
I mean, that's the death spot. Honestly, like, I think that's a great point, because I think you'll learn a lot about what this match actually is based on where it is on the card. For example, if it opens the show and they do this match, then they do the Women's Rumble, then they do the ladder match, and then they do the Men's Rumble, I think you could look at that choice and go, okay, like, they're not putting this match out there to just totally die. Like, there's a effort here to, like, we want to be able to fill our cards with tag team matches that matter, that people care about. And, like, I've always said with that, like, and I'm a big tag team wrestling fan, and with that or anything else, like, sometimes in wrestling, you just have to do it. You just have to just promote a guy, or you just have to, like, hey, we're doing this with tag team wrestling, so we're going to just go there with it. And so I think if you see, like, a 25-minute match to open the show that's back and forth, 2 out of 3 falls, I think you could, like, reasonably look at that and go, okay, maybe the tides are turning a little bit for the tag team division. That's exciting to me. And these teams, like, if given enough time, can definitely bring it from an in-ring match perspective. But to your point, man, if this thing is on, like, third after the Women's Royal Rumble, after the ladder match, and then, like, you've got this just lingering there, 2 out of 3 falls, oh man, you're gonna hear a pin drop in that stadium, and it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt deeply. I'm taking the Motor City Machine Guns too. I mean, baby faces, new stars, big show. Like, just put them over. Like, just, make the fans happy in this one. That's my pick too. And then last but not least, we got the undisputed WWE Championship on the line in a ladder match. Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens, presumably the blow-off match here. This has been an ongoing, right. This has been an ongoing feud for months. It's time, it's time to wrap it up. I think they will. If you take away the length of this feud and how it's like, I think it's just overstayed its welcome, a little bit. I think with, like, inside of it, what they've done, I think, has been okay. It's been, like, one of Cody's probably best, title programs. Now, that's not really saying all that much since he won the title, but I think it is probably one of his best, overall, programs since he won. Like, I think it beats Solo Sikoa. I think it beats the stuff with AJ. So it's not saying much, but it's saying something. Cody obviously is winning this. I wonder if we see the return of Randy Orton here to kind of, like, even the score with Kevin Owens, RKO off a ladder or something crazy like that. Like, I see this as Cody winning, but KO getting a little bit of protection thanks to Randy. Where are you at, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, I'd even add Sammy certainly in this as well.
Sammy too. Yeah.
Like, Sammy is in there and maybe he's on the apron and he like whatever, right? There's some context where it's ambiguous to both Cody and Kevin Owens, but you know that he's there to prevent Kevin from doing evil deeds. Or he runs up on the apron and he's like, man, what am I doing here? And then you have Randy like, you know, hitting RKO as Kevin Owens is like on the third rung. And then Randy Orton RKO on Kevin as he's climbing. And then Cody climbs up and wins. And then, you know, you lead to Kevin Owens later in the Rumble and Sammy, and probably a program between the two of them, it would seem, in my opinion. But, you know, it's a Cody match, Cody world title match, ladder match, a lot of shenanigans coming. I'm going to say 0 flaming tables. But besides that, you know, if Sammy Guevara could be here, I'm sure he'd be part of this match is where I'm going with this. And like on a point earlier that Sean made, I think, about CM Punk and Cody not wanting to do that because you'd be face-face. Just remember where they were last night. And just think of the reception for CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes. Like, I think we're in like the pivot phase of Cody here. And that is like a 6-month window. But, you know, with the right person in front of him, which is, you know, a good story. So that's Cena. Basically, if it's Roman or CM Punk that he's up against, I think he is not being cheered in that ring during WrestleMania as much as the other guy. If it's Cena, if it's Seth, if it's Gunther, whatever, then I think he is cheered more. But
I think there's even a chance that if he's in there with Cena, he doesn't get cheered.
So like you saw a little sample of it last night. And I think we should talk about it more maybe next week or whatever. Post this pay-per-view, but like that character was weird last night for Cody. Like almost like he was trying to like play like he was drunk or something. I mean, it was like post getting beat down, so he played it up, but it was like maybe a little preview of what a good Cody.
And the narrative too, like Cody, like you're losing it, man. Like you're losing it. Like it's the title run is like as like Punk said, like it's getting to you. It's gotten to me before. You know, it's getting to you too.
Yeah, it's saying like I don't have any friends. Like, is that canonically? Like, is that true? Like, I've never thought like Cody doesn't have friends. I mean, like, yes, I think in real life that is maybe true, but you know, because it's too corporate or whatever. Yeah, besides Ricky Starks, but like like he's there and liked. He's kind of like Cena, right? Like Cena didn't have like a stable, but he had guys that would pop out there.
Yeah,
He was the top dog. So like, I don't know, to say that it did seem like a little bit of a pivot. And you'd be smart if you're Cody to like not do the AEW thing once that happens. But anyway.
Yeah.
First time I felt that in his WWE run last night.
There was definitely a pivot last night in terms of like his character and like again the narrative around the character. Like it's not a Cody around this great run. It's like, Cody, dude, are you okay? Like Punk said those words. Are you all right? I think that's notable too. I think it's notable too. It's something to watch. There you have it, guys. Royal Rumble 2025. We'll have full coverage here all throughout the week. We will have a post show with Nocturnal Knockout. Robert will be live on the air right here on the One True Sport YouTube channel right when the Royal Rumble goes off the air. So you guys can look forward to that. I'll be in the building, so I'll be doing a lot of reporting from inside the building around Indianapolis throughout the weekend. Hope to have a ton of stuff for you guys there as well. Let's tackle one AEW topic here because Zach dropped in a super chat. And Zach says, we can't let this show go by without talking about the return of Timeless Tony Storm. A very well done segment that the crowd popped huge for. So this took place on Collision over the weekend. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy with Collision. So I understand the argument of like, hey, how could you do this big turn, this big reveal on Collision? I get it. But I also, if I was Tony Khan, I'd be like, well, we got to put something on it. We got to change the narrative of this show. So we have to start putting something on it. And that's going to mean initially, yes, a lot of people won't see it happen, but they'll catch it on social media. I think this was the right call to do this on Collision and to do it when they did. I mean, I like this a lot, Tyler. I thought this was really well done. Like, it was a great segment, really good angle. Tony Storm is one of the best character wrestlers in the entire industry right now, men or women. And, I think she proved it in this moment. I don't, I hope that it leads to people tuning in on Dynamite to see what's next. I hope it leads people to watch her, and Tony Khan needs to be ready to make Tony Storm, the face of this division, with Mariah May as her key rival. So you got to build off of that great moment. They haven't done that in the past. I hope they can do it now, because I do think it was really, really well done. Tyler, what did you think of the reveal?
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I didn't watch Collision.
It's good. It's really good.
Was Collision on at 8 this week? 8 to 10? Okay. So I would disagree that this was a good time to do it when you're up against, Prime NBC cable television product of your competition. Whether that was like
so they were. Yeah, that's true. I already forgot about WWE Battle of the Belts.
So
Saturday Night's Main Event.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see it. Obviously, it needed to happen. They need to put the belt on her. Everything you said is right. She needs to, cement her. You need to build to Tony Storm and Mercedes and have the biggest match you can put on in the business is in your company. And you've established that with your characters, with Tony Storm, less so Mercedes. Mercedes has done it by her work. No character work really, but her in-ring work since leaving WWE. But that needs to be a top 3 thing that you do in AEW in 2025 is have those 3 matches, have it be what defines AEW in 2025 is, probably a Kenny or a Will Ospreay big time run that you have like your guy in the company. And then that series of matches being the best, women's match, that being your Ricky Steamboat and your Ric Flair 87 series, basically, is what my goals would be if I'm Tony Khan.
Well said. Yeah, the Mercedes match. Yeah, they got me. This makes sense. Get there, go there, do it, get that match done. It's a big match, and yeah, curious. We'll talk about it later in the week, either on the other show after you've got a chance to talk about it or to watch it, Tyler, because I would like to hear your thoughts on it.
Mm-hmm.
And
do you think I would like it? This is not like me setting you up. Like
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's pretty much widely critically acclaimed of a segment. So, you would definitely be in the minority. Now that's okay, but you would definitely be, I think, in the minority on not.
Which wouldn't be the first time. But
no, it would not be the first time. But that's what makes you so lovable. So there you go. All right, you guys, we're gonna wrap it up there. Thanks so much for joining in the show. Real fun to preview the Royal Rumble, chat with everybody. So thanks to Eddie and Mike and Zach and 6x6 and Sean for joining us live. Derek has been in the live chat. Great to hear from him. And so many others. E2. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. If you guys aren't members yet, head over to patreon.com/BrassRingMedia to become a member. It's only $4 a month to do it. You get all of our pay-per-view and PLE review shows, so much other content. All the perks are listed there for you. So head over there now, patreon.com/BrassRingMedia. Like I said, you can catch our work for free too on our written Substack newsletter that goes out almost every day. That's free. And also our podcast feed is totally free to subscribe to. You get all of our live shows right to your mobile device, and you can take us on the go with you. So do that, and we hope to earn your business as members. Tyler, any final words?
I don't think so.
Fantastic. Guys, we will see you in a couple days. Thank you once again. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, and we'll talk to y'all real soon. See ya.